Hello guys, welcome back to this channel, and in today's video we're going to be learning how to clone GTA in Unity. We're going to start everything from scratch, so if you're a beginner learning Unity, this is the perfect video for you because you're going to dive deep into Unity while building a clone of GTA. So let's get started. This is an empty project, so first of all, you go over to your browser. In order to create a GTA game, first we need a 3D model. So you go over to this site, P3. So this site allows you to download any. So on this site, you can download 3D models from most games. So over here, we search for Grand Theft. We search for that. We can see we have different Grand Theft character like CJ. So you scroll down over to the 12th page. So on the bottom of the 12th page, we have Franklin, Trevor, and then Michael. So these three are the characters you're going to download. So first, let's start with the Franklin. So you can download by clicking on it, the name. And also, you can see the license over here which says personal use only. So these models are only for personal use. You cannot use this in a commercial game. They are only for personal use. So you click on the download file. Should start a countdown over here. And once the countdown is done, you just click on the download button, which should start the download. I already have this downloaded, so I'll skip this part. So once the download is done, you go over to your download folder. I already have Michael, Trevor, and Franklin downloaded. So you open your zip file and then you extract them. You can simply drag and drop. So you can drag and drop them anywhere you want. So for me, I put them on the desktop right over here. Michael, Franklin, and then Trevor. So once you have them extracted, you need to rate your characters. Your characters do not have any skeleton, they do not have any bones in order to perform animations. So for that, you go over to Adobe site Mixamo.com, and over here at Mixamo, you click on Upload Character. On the right side, you click on Upload Character, and then you click on Select Character File. So clicking on that will open this over here, and then you go over to the folder you and then you go over to the folder you extracted. So mine is at desktop, and then we have Michael over here, and then you select this one over here, Michael. It's a 3D object file. So you select this one and click on open, and that should upload it to Mixamo so we can rate our character. So the rigging process is simple. You just click on the next, and then you drag and drop these ones. You can see the image over here at the right. So you drag and drop each one of them to their position as it is in the image. So the chin goes over here, over here, and then the wrist, you can see from the image it's somewhere over here. And then the elbows, the knee, and then the groin comes somewhere over here. Once you're done placing them, you click on the next, and that should rig your character. So now the rigging is done. You can see it is done. So you can click on the next and click on next. So this is it. So we can choose any animation from this side and our character would play the animation. So we can see it is playing the animation. But we don't want any animation, so we just click on this one to delete the animation, and then we download our character. So we can click on the download button and we choose FBS for Unity, and we click on the download. And that should start the download process automatically. You should have it downloading. I already have these downloaded, so you can go ahead and repeat the process for the other two characters. I'll cancel this. Mm, so once it's done, you go over to your download folder, and then you can see it is over here, Trevor, Michael, and then Franklin. So now let's open our Unity. And in the Unity project, we drag and drop our folders we extracted from the zip file. So we come over to mine is on the desktop, 1, 2, 3. So we select them and then we drag and drop them into Unity. So we paste them in our assets folder in Unity. So we paste them over here. And that should import our folders into Unity. So once the importation is done, we can now import our FPS we downloaded from Mixamo. So for Franklin, we drag and drop this into the Franklin folder, which is over here. And then we drag Michael into the Michael folder. And then Trevor into the Trevor folder, which is over here. So now in our scene, let's go over to game object. Let's create a 3D game object. Let's create a plane. So a plane is simply a flat surface your character can stand on. So in this plane, let's increase the scale on the x-axis. Let's increase it to 10. Let's increase the scale on the z-axis to 10 as well. That should increase the size of our scale. So we can give our plane a material or a color. So you can right click in our assets folder. You can go to create and then you create a material over here, material. And then for now, let's give it any color. So we'll give it a color of black, maybe not, yeah, this is better. And then we drag and drop our material onto the plane. So let's open our Michael folder. Let's select the FBS file. So this is the FBS we downloaded from Mixamo, and this is the OBJ we downloaded from there. website. So we choose the FBS we downloaded from Mixamo, the one which has been rigged with and has bones. And then on the inspector panel, you click over to the rig, and then animation type, you choose humanoid. So to me, this is going to be a human. And we click on the apply. And then we can simply drag and drop into our scene. We can drag and drop this into our scene, but currently it is not that visible because it's small. So we can click on the FBS again, and then we go over to the model. Let's increase the scale factor to 10, and then apply. Or it's still small, but then we select the Michael, and then we make sure that this is not crossed, it's enabled, and then we increase the scale to 7.5. That should be okay. You can see now here's our character, but it has no materials, so it is white. So in order to get the materials, we click on the OBJ file, which was downloaded from the website, and then we go over to the material section, and then we extract material from that file. Let's extract it into the same folder. So once the extraction is done, let's turn this one off for now, and then let's drag and drop the OBJ into the screen, the OBJ from the website, that one into the screen, into the scene. And then for this, we can add the materials to this. So first one is this material, which has already been added. The next one, let's add the textures. So in order to that, okay, so you can see this is the face. This is the face. So on the albedo, we drag the head to the albedo. Okay, we have it now. And then the next one, which is the suit, I think this should be the suit. Okay, so this is the shirt. And we can drag and drop here the upper diffuse. So we drag and drop that into the albedo. And then the next material, which is this one, that is the suit. So we can drag the same thing to the suit here, which gives us a character. You can see here is our character. So now let's remove this one from the scene, and then let's enable back our FBS. So for our FBS, we simply drag and drop the materials on our FBS. So this one is the hand, and this one is the face. It goes over to the face. This one, I think, is the trousers here. It's the shoe rather, the shoe. And then this one is supposed to be the eyes here. And the hair as well. So you drag over to the hair, and this one is the shirt, the trousers, which is this one. Now we can add our eyes, which is this one over here. And then the next thing is also add the eyelashes. Yeah. But for the eyelashes, you can duplicate this material. You can duplicate it. uh, You can duplicate this material. Control D to duplicate. And for the copy we made, we drag that onto the eyelashes, and then we set the rendering to cut out. So that should make it look like a hair. Yes. So now that is it. And then we can go back into our assets folder. Let's create a new folder. Let's call this my asset. So in this folder, we simply drag the Michael into the folder. Perfect. So the next thing we do is we go over to window. So you can repeat the process for the other two characters. So the next thing we do is we go over to the window, package manager, and then we go over to my assets, right over here, my assets. And so the next thing we do is you go over to window, package manager, and then you go over to my assets. And then let's refresh that. So if you're having an error displaying your assets, you can open the Unity hub and then you sign out and then you sign in again and then you refresh it. That should work. But before that, let's open our browser. Let's go to the Unity Assets store, which is assets.unity.com. And then we make sure we are logged in. So let's sign in. So we sign in with our Unity profile. So once you're signed in, you search for this asset, starter asset, which was developed by the Unity team. So for this asset, we have it over here. We have the starter asset first person and starter asset third person. So we choose the third person, and then over here you're going to see add to my asset. So you click on that one and then it would add to your asset. So once it has been added to your asset, you go over to the Unity editor and then you refresh your asset. And then you search for it, starter. So you should see it, starter asset, third person. And then you're going to see a download over here. So you click on the download. Once the download is done, you can now import it. So you click on the import. And then you click on install or upgrade. So it needs to install some dependencies needed for this asset to work. So you install the dependencies. I already have it installed, so it will not run anything. But for you, it's going to install all the dependencies. So once the dependencies are done installing, you're going to have this over here, and then you click on the import, and then this should import the starter assets into your project. After that is done, you can close the package manager, and then you go over to the folder which it just created, starter assets, and then you go over to the third person folder, and then to the scenes, then you click on the playground. So you can save this scene. Let's save it. And this is the scene, but everything seems to be this color. So in order to fix this, inside our starter asset folder, we go over to the environment folder, and then to the art, and then materials, and then we click all these materials. We select them all together, and then for the shader, let's change that to standard. That is if you're facing the same error. And then the next thing we do is we go over to the third person, to the character, materials, and we do the same thing for the character as well. We change that to standard. So now you can double click on our character to see it. Okay, so here we have it. Once we click on the play, we should be able to move our character with a keyboard and mouse. And also, if you have a controller inserted, you can also move your character with that. So here we have it. We're moving our character. You can run, jump. Yes. So basically, you can run and jump. So these are the basic movements for third-person game like GTA. So let's stop our game. So inside our character, we go over to my assets folder we created. Then we drag and drop Michael inside our player armature. And then we right click on this transform, and then reset property, and then we reset the position. So that should bring Michael over here. But Michael seems too small with that. So we can go back into our Michael folder, click on the FPS, and then let's increase the scale to, let's say, 15, and then hit on the apply. So now we have it. I think let's change it to 12. 12 will be much better because Michael seems bigger than the character now. So let's change it to 12, and then we hit apply. So Michael still seems so small, but then we can increase it over here using, so when you hover your mouse pointer over each of them, you can scroll to the left or the right to increase it. But make sure that this is enabled so it can increase all of them at once. So we can increase Michael a little bit. So I think 8 will be fine. So we can change this to 8. That is fine. And then we select Michael, and then we click on this one on the avatar. We click on Michael avatar. So that means here it is, the Michael avatar, here it is. So let's remove this animator, remove component. And then we click on the player armature. And then right here on the avatar, where we see amateur avatar, we drag and drop the Michael avatar on that. And then let's disable the geometry and then disable the skeleton. So now let's hit play and see how the game looks. So we can see now that we can control Michael. Michael can run now. He can jump. You can see him over here. We have Michael. And that is perfect. He can jump. So these are the basic movements for a third person game. We can move Michael anywhere we want. He has collision as well. We can move him up the stairs, jump down. That is perfect. So we can repeat the process for the other characters as well. But before repeating the process, we can go back to the My Asset, and then we can drag and drop this inside My Assets folder. And then we choose Prefab Variant. So for this, let's rename it into Michael underscore character. Then let's repeat the process for the other characters as well. So repeating that for our two other characters, you can simply go back into my assets folder. So I have already done it for Franklin and then Trevor, the materials. I've already done that. So I can simply drag Franklin into the player armature and then again reset the position. Franklin seems too small. Let's increase this. And remember, enable this one, the constraint proportion, enable it. Let's set it to 7.5. I think that should be okay. And then the next thing we can do is the Franklin avatar. We remove the animator. Then inside the player armature, we drag Franklin avatar into that. And then let's disable Michael for now. Let's run the game, see how it goes. So here we have it. We can also move Franklin. We can jump, run, then we can also walk. It also has the collisions. And let's check the stairs. So we can move up the stairs as well, jump, and then also jump down. You can change the animations. So in the later videos, we're going to do that. The next thing, let's do it for Trevor. So we go back into my assets, Trevor, and then let's drag Trevor into the player armature. And then we reset the position. So the height, I think it's okay. So for Trevor, we're not going to use the scale because I think it's okay. So let's disable Franklin. And then for Trevor, let's remove the animator. And then we go back into the, and then but before that, let's enable Franklin back. And then let's drag and drop Franklin into this. Let's say Franklin. So prefab variant. And then let's rename this to Franklin. Let's let's rename this to Franklin underscore character instead. Yeah. And then let's continue for Trevor. So we disable Franklin. Let's enable Trevor. And then here we choose the Trevor avatar. Let's run it and see how it looks. So in here we can see we can move Trevor, he can run, jump as well. So yeah, Trevor is also working. Let's hit stop. And then let's drag and drop Trevor as well over here. Prefab variant. And then let's rename this to Trevor underscore character. But before that, let's create a new game object, an empty game object. Let's reset this into the center. And then let's rename this as player. Since we are starting with Trevor, let's underscore Trevor. And then let's select the main camera, the camera follow, the player amateur, and then let's drag and drop everything into the player Trevor. So that would mean it would contain everything here. Let's make sure everything works. So everything still works. So yeah. So for our Trevor character, which is over here, we can drag and drop the player Trevor to that, and then yeah, we click, and so we can't drag and drop that. So we can simply drag and drop it over here. So which creates our player Trevor, and then we can go back into the player amateur. Let's turn up Trevor. Let's enable Franklin, and now let's change the name to player Franklin. Then we drag and drop that over here, prefab variant. And then for now, we do it again for Michael. Let's rename this to player Michael. And let's drag and drop this over here, player variant. So the reason we are doing this is if we create a new scene or if we go to a new scene, we can still use our characters. So let's go over to our first scene we're working on. Don't save. So inside this scene, you can disable this trigger as well. Inside this scene, let's go into my assets and let's drag the player Franklin. Let's drag it into the scene. And then let's disable this main camera that is already there. Let's hit play. You can see it's still going to work. We're still going to have our character moving, jumping, and running. Everything should work perfectly. Okay, it doesn't seem to be working. The camera is working, but the character is not playing any animation. So in order to fix that, inside this player amateur, we forgot to change the avatar. Let's change it back to Franklin avatar. Yeah. So once we change it back to Franklin avatar, we can then here and then click on the override and then apply all. So that should apply inside our prefab we saved. Yes, so click on the apply all. And now once we click on the play, that should work. So yeah, here we have walking, running, and then jumping. So to make sure everything is working, we can simply delete that. We can delete that and then drag it back into our scene to see if it still works. Yeah. So but before that, let's do that for Michael. So we drag Michael in there, and then we go over to the play armature, choose the Michael avatar, go back over here, and then click on apply all. And then Michael should also work. So we can see Michael is also working and then the run. So that will be it for setting up the basic movement. So, and also that will be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for upcoming videos. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below and don't forget to like and subscribe.